Hello Year 10, this is Mr. McLeod. Today's learn objective is to know how to rearrange formulae. I know we've spent a few lessons on this, but it is such an important topic I want to make sure we get lots of practice. We're going to see some different examples today and some more difficult examples today too. So to start off with, there are 6 questions on the board. This is your starter. Pause the video for 10 minutes and you have 10 minutes to work through these 6 questions. So pause the video now. We'll go through the questions afterwards. So, getting your green pens, marking your answers to the starter activity. There are your 6 answers. So, for the first I do and we do of the lesson, we've got a fairly simple equation, but you'll notice that we're making y the subject and it's minus y in the question. It's got a negative in front of it. So we've got to learn how to deal with that. So, a take away y equals x. And we've got to get this y on its own. First off, let's get rid of this a. And let's do that by subtracting a from both sides. That will leave us with negative y equals x take away a. Now, we've got this minus sign in front of the y. We've got to effectively imagine that this is negative 1 times y. So like any other number in front of the y, we're just going to divide by that. We're going to divide by negative 1. What this is going to give us is y, positive y, equals negative x plus a. What it's effectively done is it swapped every negative sign to a positive and every positive sign to a negative. So we get y equals minus x plus a. Please pause the video here and allow a couple of minutes to copy down the I do and then move on and work through the we do. We'll go through the answer in a moment. So for the we do, it's similar to the I do, except we're making b the subject instead of y. So first step, subtract the a from both sides. That leaves us with negative b equals x take away a. And then again, we've got to imagine this is negative 1 times b. So we've got to divide by that negative 1. That gives us b equals negative x plus a. It swapped every positive sign to a negative and every negative sign to a positive. Please make sure you've copied this down. Okay, so in this I do and we do, we have x equals negative y take away a. And we've got to make y the subject. Again, it's got a negative in front of it. First step, add a to both sides. Get rid of this minus a. So do the opposite, add a to both sides. That leaves us with x plus a equals minus y. And again, we've got to imagine this is minus 1 in front of the y. So like any other number, like any other coefficient, we divide by the negative 1. That leaves us with just y equals negative x take away a. Again, it swapped every positive to a negative and every negative to a positive. This is a little trick you'll learn to do. Pause the video here, copy down the I do, and then try the we do in your books, please. Well done, Year 10. So for the we do, you should have added a to both sides, and then divided by minus 1 again, to leave you with b equals negative x take away a. Give yourself a tick and green pen if you got that right. That's really good work if you did. Okay, so example 3 sees us with x equals negative y divided by a. So we've got a fraction and we've got negative y as the numerator of that fraction. So negative y is being divided by a and we want to get rid of that. So let's do the opposite. Let's multiply both sides by a to get rid of this a on the bottom. That leaves us with a times x, or ax, equals negative y. And then again, to get rid of this negative, we're just going to divide both sides by minus 1. That gives us positive y equals negative ax. Please pause the video here, copy down the I do, and then try the we do in your books, please. Okay, so for the we do, it's the same question, except we've got b in place of x and b in place of y, pardon me. So first step, multiply by the a and then divide by -1. You should get b equals negative ax. Well done if you got that right. So this is the last I do and we do of this little stage, where we've got x take away a equals negative 3y. And we've got to make y the subject. This time it's got negative 3 in front of it. But let's see how we deal with that. First off, I'm going to divide by 3. So that's going to give me x take away a divided by 3. And that equals negative y. Then once again, we're going to divide by negative 1. Divide both sides by negative 1. So this flips every negative sign to a positive and every positive sign to a negative. So we're left with y equals negative brackets x take away a over 3. You could have also, for the first step, just simply divide by negative 3. This would also give you a positive answer. All I would say is be careful about having a negative number in the denominator of a fraction. Please pause the video here and try the we do for yourselves, following the steps. So for the we do, first off we divide by 7 to give us x take away a divided by 7 equals negative b. And then we divide by -1 to get negative b to positive b. So this should say b equals negative bracket x take away a divided by 7 close brackets. Well done if you got that right. So there are 15 questions on the board. These are quite challenging questions here. These are high level GCSE questions, so please pause the video and allow 20 or more minutes if necessary to work through these 15 questions. Well done Year 10, keep working. Here are the answers to the first 15 questions. Please mark in green pen. If your answer looks slightly different to some of these, try and analyse it and see if your answer might indeed be the same thing, just with a different appearance. Just because it looks different doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, remember that. This is high level GCSE stuff, it is going to be difficult. So, moving on to a slightly different example, here we've got negative 5y add a equals m, and we've got to make y the subject. Now again, we've got to get rid of this a, because we want the y part on its own. So let's get rid of the a by subtracting a from both sides. That leaves us with negative 5y equals m take away a. Then, you can divide by negative 5 on both sides, and that will give us an answer of y equals m take away a divided by negative 5. At this stage, again, you could have divided by 5 and then again by negative 1, but either way, it's fine. This is just a quicker way of doing this. Please pause the video here and work through the we do yourselves. You're making e the subject in the we do. So your solution to the we do should look something like this. You should first subtract a from both sides and then divide by negative 5 to get e equals b take away a divided by negative 5. You could also have the negative outside with this whole fraction in brackets. That would change this to a plus, however. And for the next two examples, we've got negative y divided by 5, take away a equals m. First step, get rid of the take away a by plussing a to both sides. That leaves us with negative y divided by 5 equals m plus a. Then let's get rid of this 5 on the bottom. We're dividing y by 5, let's times by 5. Let's do the opposite to get rid of it. That leaves us with negative y equals 5 bracket m plus a. Remember, at this stage you could expand the brackets, but it might make extra work for you. Negative y, well, that's a problem. We want positive y. So again, let's divide by negative 1, switch this sign from a negative to a positive. That leaves us with y equals negative 5 bracket m plus a. The reason this sign inside the bracket hasn't changed is because it's being multiplied by the 5 outside the bracket. So if you want to see what that looks like, try at this stage expanding the brackets and then dividing by negative 1. Please pause the video and work through the we do yourselves. Okay, so for the next we do, I've got negative e divided by 5, add a equals b. And the main difference is, instead of a take away a, we've got plus a. So we do the opposite to get rid of that. Take away a from both sides. You should end up with a line that looks something like this. Then, to get rid of the 5 on the bottom of the e, we're going to times by 5, do the opposite. So we get negative e equals 5 bracket b take away a. Remember, you could expand the brackets at this stage. You can do that if you're curious to see what it looks like. It might actually make more sense to some of you if you expand the brackets and then see how that affects your answer too. So again, we've got negative e here. We've got to just imagine this is negative 1 in front of the e, and we're going to want to get rid of that. So we're going to divide by that negative 1. That switches negative e to positive e, and it makes e equal negative 5 bracket b take away a. Remember, this sign inside the bracket doesn't have to change because it's being multiplied by this 5 where the sign has changed already. And like I said, at this stage you can expand the brackets if you want to see it make more sense to you perhaps. And for the last I do and the we do, we've got x take away a equals negative 3y. And we simply just want to get y on its own. So at this stage we could just divide by negative 3. That's a quick way of doing this. That's going to give us just y equals x take away a divided by negative 3. Please pause the video here, copy that down, and then try the we do yourselves. Okay, so for the we do, you should have simply one step divide by negative 7 to get an answer of x take away a divided by negative 7 equals b. Here are 12 questions on the board, similar to the examples we've just done. Please pause the video here and allow 15 to 20 minutes or more if needed to work through the questions. We'll go through the answers afterwards. Please pause the video now. So for the answers, please mark in green pen. If there are any questions, I will be back soon to check your answers for you if you need. This is question 2. This one's slightly different and can be slightly more difficult for some people. Please pause the video here and allow 15 to 20 minutes to practice on some of these questions. We'll go through the answers in a moment. Here are the answers to the questions you've just done. Please mark in green pen. Again, any queries about answers, I can answer them when I come back. Okay, so these are the last types of examples we'll see in today's lesson, where we've got make y the subject, but we've got y on both sides, you'll notice. So I'm going to show you how we're going to deal with that. First things first, we want to get all the y's on one side. So we want to get rid of this negative 3y. What I'd recommend is Look at both sides and decide which side has the higher number of y. This side has 5y, this side has negative 3y. Clearly the side with 5y has more y, so I'm going to get the y's on that side. You don't have to do this, it just makes it a little bit easier. You could take away 5y from both sides and get the y's onto this side, but that's just going to make things a little bit more complicated. So first step, I want to get rid of the negative 3y. So I'm going to add 3y to both sides. That's going to give me this line, 8y add 7a equals 2m. So I want to get rid of the 7a now. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to take away 7a from both sides. So 8y equals 2m, take away 7a. And of course we've got 8y, we want to make y the subject, so we want just one y. So let's divide by the 8. This will give me y equals 2m, take away 7a, divided by 8. Please pause the video here and copy down the I do, and then attempt the we do yourselves. So again, for the we do, we could have gone one or two ways. We could have got the e's on this side, but I said, look at the side with the greater number of e, well 5e is greater than negative 2e, so let's get the e's on this side. Let's get rid of this negative 2e. So I'm going to add 2e to both sides, which gives me 7e, add 7a equals 2m. Then I want to get rid of the 7a, so I'm going to take away 7a from both sides. This leaves me with 7e equals 2m, take away 7a. And then I want just 1e. So I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides, leaving me with e equals 2m, take away 7a, divided by 7. Give yourself a tick and green pen if you got that right. Okay, so stepping it up a little bit here, we've got a really hard example here. So make y the subject, and we've got 5 bracket y squared add a bracket equals 14a, take away 4y squared, add 16a. Now, I think the simplest thing to do is to expand this bracket first. That's going to give us 5y squared, so we do 5 times y squared and then 5 times a. So we get 5y squared, add 5a, the bracket's just been expanded, equals 14a, take away 4y squared, add 16a. All we've done is expanded this bracket here. So now I have negative 4y squared, I have 5y squared, so I want to get the y's on one side. This side has a greater number of y, it has 5y, this side has negative 4y squared. So rid of the y squareds on this side, add 4y squared to both sides. That gives us 9y squared add 5a equals 14a plus 16a. Now, you'll notice that we've got 14a and 16a here. Let's combine that. That's going to equal 30a. So we're going to have 30a on this side. But we're going to get rid of the 5a on this side. So let's take 5a off both sides. That's where we get 25a from. 30a here, take away 5a equals 25a. And on this side we're left with just 9y squared. Want to get rid of the 9, so I'm going to divide by 9. So I'm left with y squared equals 25a divided by 9. Then, because we've got y squared, we want just y, so let's take the square root. So we've got plus or minus, remember I said to you about plus or minus. When we have a square root or an even root, we're always going to get a positive and negative solution, so don't forget that part. Plus or minus the square root of 25a over 9. Please pause the video here and try the we do for yourselves. Okay, so just to finish the lesson, I've got 9 questions here, which are quite high level, quite complex GCSE questions, so they should take you a while. Please pause the video here for as long as needed to allow students to complete these questions. Try as hard as you can. If you are completing these questions, you are doing really well. This is not easy. This is tough work. So keep up the good work, Year 10. Keep working well. Okay, so here are your answers to the first 6 questions. Please mark them in green pen. The next 3 will come up shortly. And here are your answers to the next 3 questions. There's quite a lot of steps to these questions, and I'd estimate these will be worth 4 to 5 marks in a GCSE paper. Well done if you're getting that right. That's absolutely brilliant. Please mark in green pen. Thank you for listening, Year 10, and I'll see you again soon.